Movement. It's how we get from place to place. It is something most of us take for granted. For me, movement is something I have to deal with. I am Rachel Roth. I am 24 years old and a student at the University of California, San Diego. I have a movement disorder called essential tremor. When I was 5, a parent volunteer noticed that my hands were shaking when I tried to write. But when I hold a pencil, I give it the death grip, and it makes writing impossible. And when I even think too much, the shaking becomes worse. It wasn't until I was 14 years old that I was diagnosed with essential tremor, commonly referred to as ET. Essential tremor is a movement disorder that causes shaking of the hands, head, legs, arms, trunk, and vocal cords. It can also give the illusion that someone with it is nodding their head yes or shaking for no, even when this is not the intention. I played trombone since I was very young. It was in college that a fellow band member noticed the shaking and questioned what was wrong with me. ET is a movement disorder. It affects limbs when they are in use, unlike Parkinson's, another movement disorder that affects limbs at rest. ET is usually diagnosed in older people, but it has been diagnosed in infants as well. I do not let ET hold me back, but I do struggle with everyday tasks like eating, drinking, walking, and conversation. When I interview for a job, I am often considered nervous because of my shakiness. The worry of shaking can make the shaking worse. This can make initial interactions with people more difficult. The worst part of ET for me is the judgment. So often people see me shaking and they assume something is wrong with me. They assume I'm drunk, they assume I am nervous, or they assume I am incompetent. Many people with ET have coping mechanisms or ways that they try to hide the shaking from other people. For me, I put my hands in my pocket to cope. Some people move their arms and hands a lot in the hopes that the shaking will not be discovered. Some of my friends have an Instagram account. I do not. Photography isn't easy when your hands shake so much. Many people with ET make the same assumptions about themselves when they first discover they have shaking limbs, because often pediatricians don't know what they're looking for, not familiar with it. But there are people, lots of people, who are young adults who have essential tremor. They assume they are nervous or that they are just shaky, and they go undiagnosed for a long time. I am grateful that I was diagnosed when I was. It has helped me to find support and learn more about ET. I had a difficult time when I realized that some young people with ET avoid college for fear of embarrassment, or worse. What has really empowered me was the discovery of the San Diego Essential Tremor Support Group. When I went to the first support group meeting, I felt sort of out of place. It's hard to explain, but I had never been around so many people with ET. Also, it was an eye-opener to see people in different stages of progression. Everyone there was older than me. Having essential tremor has really been that calling and something there for a reason. It's allowed me to give support to others and realize my passion for advocacy and becoming a support group leader.
this time inflating, all this time afraid to show you what's inside. I've been hiding, all this time been fighting, all this time trying to keep it quiet, but it's time to show you what I'm made of. Sit down and close your eyes, change your mind, blow your life. This gift has come.